a great opportunity as a chapter, especially as we progress through the year, to think about these different topic areas and how your chapter may produce their own education or opportunities within the chapter to focus on each of these areas. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more when I present to you kind of a draft chapter edition of PWX at Home that we've been working on for all of you. I do want to share with you today a sneak peek at our website that we have been working on. This will launch in the next few days for PWX at Home. And up on my screen, you will see the homepage for PWX at Home. The homepage will highlight the upcoming month that we have. So again, August, we are going to be talking about utilities and public rights-of-way. We also will have an exhibitor showcase, which will run through the entire year. This will give an opportunity to still highlight our vendors and exhibitors, give participants the ability to watch video demonstrations, set up interviews with the different exhibitors, also to vote and look at product showcases throughout the entire year. This will be highlighted on our front webpage throughout the whole year. You'll see also at the bottom of our landing page each of the months that I just talked about. So as we celebrate a month, you'll see it up here when it goes live. Then after that month is over, it will come back down here so that you have access the entire year. So your staff, your members of your chapter, all year round will have access to each of these programs prior to register for them, access the resources, or after they have actually that month has occurred. So all year we'll have access to all of this information. When you go into the specific month, you'll see that we have specific categories that we're going to be covering every month as PWX at Home. We will have live events. There will be 3 reoccurring live events every month. We will have our Spotlight On series, which will occur the second Tuesday of every month. This series will highlight sessions that were selected for PWX. So it'll be a half-day live event with 3 sessions highlighted with interviews and MC. Very exciting, interactive event. We will also every month have a third Thursday advocacy jam. This will be put on by our government affairs staff and our GAC, Government Affairs Committee. Each month taking a different look, whether it be specific to that technical area or perhaps different legislation or advocacy issues going on at that time that they want to make sure our members are aware of. This is free to members and non-members, and you will have the opportunity, our members will have the opportunity to register for each month specifically or do an annual registration where they can register for all 12 months at one time. That's the same with the Spotlight On series I mentioned before. There will be member and non-member pricing for the Spotlight On series, very nominal fee of $50 for individuals, for members, and then $75 for non-members with discounted rates for group registration or for purchasing the entire annual series. So again, for the Spotlight On series, individuals can register for UPRO or maybe water, or they can register for the entire year. Our third live reoccurring event that we'll have is called the SCRC Perspective On. This is Small Cities and Rural Communities Committee working jointly with the technical committee area to put on a specific perspective on what challenges do small cities and rural communities face in those technical areas. This will be held the first Wednesday of every month and again be free to members and non-members. And you'll see there's each of these sections will be highlighted every month. And I'm going to dive into these a little bit more when I share with you our chapter edition and how chapters can get involved in each of these areas. But your website, you'll be able to go in for each month, check out these. If you click on the actual area, it'll scroll you down specifically, give you resources. That currently, a lot of these resources already exist with APWA. So again, we have all these toolboxes that our UPRO committee has produced. We will be highlighting those this month so that all of our members are aware of all these fabulous resources and education opportunities we have. Also, our Spotlight On series, since it's for the entire year, highlighting our PWX sessions, we do have a specific webpage to the Spotlight On series where you could go in and look at all of those sessions at one time. So if you're interested in what we're going to be doing for facilities and grounds, you can just click and it'll go down and show you that specific information for that session. So that's a sneak peek at our website, which we are still finalizing, but will be launched here in the next few days. With that, I'd like to share with you and then I will open it up for discussion. What we have put together, let me see. Let me have just 1 second here to, there we go. So we have started a template, what we're calling the PWX at Home Chapter Edition, where we would like your feedback today. So again, we want this PWX at Home to also work very closely with what the chapters are doing as far as offering education, opportunities to volunteer, interact at the chapter level. So we've put together this draft document, which highlights, gives kind of overview description of each of the areas we'll cover each month. And then we've added like what opportunities chapters have within those areas. So for example, I talked about the Spotlight on Series, which is a half-day live event covering those PWX sessions. Our suggestion would be the chapters can, at a minimal level, just help promote that series each month. Or at a higher level, chapters may choose to host a virtual watch party. Perhaps they get their chapter together virtually to watch this, and then after the fact have a discussion about what they watched. Or even later in the year, as you have these topics available to you, chapters can plan their own local online Spotlight on series, getting local speakers, subject matter experts, talking about opportunities and challenges that may be specific to your area. Third Thursday Advocacy Jam. Again, this is an opportunity where you could either just promote the opportunity for your members to attend this session, or you can even invite our government affairs team to coordinate a series of advocacy briefs for your region or your chapter level. So they're happy to put on these advocacy briefs in each of the priority areas that APWA offers. So again, there's lots of opportunities here for your chapter to be involved in what we're already producing and have available, or to make it your own. Very similar with the SCRC Perspective Series. You could get together, encourage your members to attend, have a discussion after the fact, or the SCRC Perspective is a very interactive session, so it'll be using Ring Central like we're using today. So just encourage your members to attend and share their perspective. We also will have on-demand e-learning opportunities each month. We are producing a new series called The Principles of Public Works Operations. This will roll out each technical area of the month. This is based off of those who are familiar with the Blue Book, what we call the Blue Book, the Public Works Administration's operations publication. There's a Unit 10 in that publication which covers each of the operations. So if you're a new supervisor or you've been asked to supervise individuals in a technical area that perhaps you're not familiar with, this is a great overview of those different operation areas. This is a course that will be broke out by technical areas. So for example, August will cover UPRO. It's an excellent thing for those chapters that have institutes that perhaps are required to teach this as part of their institute. They now have this online e-course so that they can share with their institute attendees, and then complement it with either a virtual discussion or once they're back live meeting as part of the institute, they can then complement that with discussion guides. So this is a new series that'll be rolling out. This is also an important area as far as the e-learning. If you're familiar with APWA certificate programs, we have the Winter Maintenance Supervisor Certificate, Winter Maintenance Operator Certificate program that a lot of our chapters currently utilize. We will be introducing new this year, the Public Fleet Certificate program and the Facilities to Ground Certificate. These will be live online certificate programs during the appropriate month, but these are also great ways for your chapter to either provide this information virtually, or once you go back to face-to-face meetings, have all that material to produce that certificate program at your chapter level that we could assist you with. Each month we will also focus on training technology and roving reporter. So I've listed here, and we will make this document available to all of you after today. We just want to get some initial feedback. But great opportunities here to either brand your own sessions at your chapter if they fall within the top 5 trending technology, or you could utilize our sessions, our Talking Top Tech that we give every year, are recorded, free, and available to you. You could actually do a virtual lunch and learn, or again, once you're back to doing face-to-face meetings, hold a lunch and learn where you show that Talking Top Tech and then have a discussion afterwards. You could do your own local Talking Top Tech, where perhaps you go into agencies or You identify different vendors you work with locally that perhaps have something that you would like to highlight to your chapter. And then we also have new that we've released is a make your own roving reporter video. So hashtag APWA roving reporter. We're encouraging chapters, individuals, agencies to make their own short videos for whatever exciting they may have going on in their community that they want to share with others. So several ways here in this area where your chapter can really customize this and utilize it at your own local level. And we talked a little bit about the exhibit program. So again, ways that you can utilize this is to invite your own local vendors that you may have at your conferences to help sponsor online education programs you have, lead happy hour jam sessions, or what we're doing through our Spotlight On series is we're actually inviting our exhibitors to do short interview breaks they're about 3 to 5 minutes that you could also invite them to that for any live online programs that you're offering. So certainly ways that you could utilize these same items that we're doing. We will highlight each month 3 programs out of our members library. And again, I can't remind you enough to let you know that you could utilize all of our members library content to, produce lunch and learns, whether it's virtually or face-to-face. We do produce now discussion guides with each of our Click, Listen, and Learns that you could use to have after you watch the actual recorded program to have a discussion within your chapter. We also offer CEUs for both virtual and face-to-face programs utilizing this method. We'll be highlighting resources and publications. This is a great way, again, to either just promote those resources within your chapter or have a virtual book club or some other way to interact locally with your chapter members. Career development workforce is another area we'll be focusing on. As part of the workforce focus group, Council of Chapters focus group, we worked with them, and one of the ideals that came out of that was to really start looking at kind of a tell your story. How did you get in your career? Really promote the career of public works. So we are starting that task with a day of the life video contest. So we'll be asking public works professionals to send in these videos, talking to us, what is it a day in life of what your career are? This will help us give out career possibilities, share that with others who perhaps haven't thought about public works as a career, or perhaps are just entering it and don't know all of the possibilities that are there. We also know at the chapter level, there's probably so much more going on from a workforce career development standpoint that we would like to learn more about. So I think this is a great opportunity as a chapter that you can share that information with us. Again, we go down, and this part of this is certifications, recognizing APWA certifications. So we give you some great ideas of how you can help people study, get ready for exams, and then recognize them once they're certified. And then finally, we have a section called Committee News, where we then talk about the particular committee that's being represented by the technical area. So again, this would be UPRO for August. And this is really a great opportunity for you to look at, do you have a similar committee at your chapter level? How can they be involved with the National Technical Committee? Can they volunteer to be on their knowledge team? What resources does that committee have that could be helpful to your chapter? Technical committees can have subject matter experts come and speak at your local chapter events. So again, great opportunities here to make that connection with our committee. So with that, Tammy, I try to keep it pretty brief and a general overview to give plenty of time for discussion, but I'm happy to answer questions or provide any additional information that you'd like.
Tammy, is it okay if I say a word or so? Thank you. As you can see, our staff has been asleep at the wheel. Bill stated our staff has been great. We kicked into action in March, just being reactive to what was being thrown at us. But then starting about April, May, when we knew that we would cancel PWX, the staff has created this program in really a matter of weeks. I'm on a weekly call with other CEOs around the United States, actually North America, of nonprofits, and all of them, and the common word you've all heard now is pivoted. All of them have pivoted to doing virtual conferences, just like what they had as their annual meeting. And we're really unique in that we've really re-looked at what the whole process is and how can we do it in an inexpensive way, but really create really amazing programming and an amazing online experience. And the thought was if we spread it out over a year, we can have a thematic month every year and promote all of our products and services that are related. When I've spoken with other CEOs around the United States, they're actually in awe. So we're very excited about what will roll out, and a lot of what we put in here came from your input at our last meetings about would you really want a 3-day long, 5-hour long meeting? And this will allow you and members in your area to pick and choose what you want or lock in on a whole year. So have fun with it.
Let's start. Are there any questions for Becky? Thank you, Scott.
Tammy, it's Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. I don't have a question, but I just think it is a really great idea to follow that monthly schedule and just see how the chapters, I'm from the Ontario chapter every month, just to see how the chapters can go along with that schedule and get material out, or I like the opportunity of that virtual watch party, etc. So I can see that would probably work very well when we're trying to engage the chapter members, but it's not always easy to think of a topic. So you've given us topics to choose from, so I appreciate that.
Well, we often hear, the chapters have such robust education and programming and outreach to members, and they're very hands-on. So we wanted to make sure that it's something that everybody can be engaged in, and it's value add at all levels. So what are your chapters thinking about in terms of education and programming for the next 6 to 12 months? Where are you guys?
I can start if you want, because I was just there. We had a board meeting in June, and so for all of our events and all of our committees that put on some sort of a symposium or otherwise, we requested, because we had to do our budget submission for July, we requested a copy of a budget if it was 100% virtual, if it was 50-50, and if it was able to be held in person, what it would look like. So we're basically just keeping all options open. We don't want to be that, that group that cancels our AGM that's scheduled for the end of January, but we also don't want to be that group that doesn't decide until January. So we have our young professional group has actually been our most active group. They hold breakfast forums pretty regularly, and they normally only lasted an hour in person. So to refocus them virtually has been no problem for them. One of the things that we are working on is we have to come up with a platform like this or like Zoom or something like that, because we don't have anything in our chapter that we subscribe to. So I work for the city of Hamilton, and we have WebEx. So when I'm hosting a meeting, I use my WebEx. Somebody else might use Microsoft Teams because that's what they have at their work. So we're taking some of our marketing money per se in the budget that we haven't spent, and trying to figure out what our platform would be. And because looking into it, we attend lots of meetings, but then you attend something and it's more of a webinar. So you want people to be there, but you don't necessarily want them to participate with audio. Or you want them to be there, but you don't want to have 14 screens of faces. So we're just trying to figure out what the best way to go is for our group.
Who else?
This is Paul from Wisconsin chapter, and normally our fall conference is early November, and we've in the past used the Hoover app for our conferences, and Hoover has some stuff set up virtually. So we'll probably end up looking at a hybrid where we do some in person, but people also be able to by using the Hoover app also be able to do it virtually as well. So we're looking at kind of a hybrid at this point, but somewhat subject to change as we continue to fine tune that. It's not 100% planned out yet.
I have a question. This is Marty from Chicago. Is there a cost for this PWX at home thing as to register?
So many of the options will be free to our members. So the third advocacy jam and the SCRC perspective on live events will be free every single month. Also, all of the toolboxes and the members library highlights, all of those will be free. There is a fee for the Spotlight On series, which is held monthly. Again, that's for an individual who's registering for that. That's a member. It would be $50 for 3.5 hours of education, and then $75 for non-members. We have some group pricing in there as well, where you could get discounts if you have groups. Also, if you purchase like an annual registration to all 12 events, you could also get a discount. And then there will be a fee for the Principles of Public Works Operations series. But again, trying to price these at a fee that's reasonable that individuals can afford to actually participate.
Thank you.
Will there be CEUs? I might maybe cover that earlier, but will CEUs be available for all this virtual PWX or just certain aspects?
That I'll actually defer to Deanne, but I believe every aspect that we can, we will provide CEUs, but we'll have to follow our guidelines that we have, of course.
That's correct. So the Spotlight On series, we will definitely be offering CEUs for that series. And if you purchase the Principles of Public Works Operations series, that will offer CEUs. All of our members' library programs that will be highlighted will be eligible for CEUs as well. If an easy way to determine if it's going to allow for CEUs is if it has learning objectives associated with it in the on the website, then it's eligible for CEUs. If it does not, then it will not be eligible for CEUs. So that's an easy way to determine.
And can you just briefly too mention if a chapter wanted to host one of the members' library items as a lunch and learn virtual event, how they could get CEUs for their participants?
Sure. So there is no need to apply for those CEUs. You can provide the link to the program to your members, and they can, with most of our programs, there's now in the description a link that says apply for CEUs or submit for CEUs for this program, and they can just complete that login and complete that link. If they are non-members, then they'll need to have an APWA account, and they can just email CEU@apwa.net and request those and let us know the chapter program information, when it happened, and in the program that they participated in. We'll verify and provide them with the CEUs.
So what do you guys think about the outline of the PWX at home? I know Angela spoke about that and how it will dovetail with chapter programming, either how it may support, what you're excited about, what opportunities you see over the next 12 months.
I think it's a good thing that you're spreading out over 12 months, because I think you try to expect people to sit at their computer for 3 days or whatever is probably not realistic. So I think spreading out is probably a good way to do it. We'll have to figure out how it's going to tie into our chapters. We'll have to work with our committee on that. Yeah, this is Paul from Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I would add our staff is happy to work with each of you offline about how you might use it for your own needs as well.
Yeah, and I think as we move forward too, as we release each month and the different items that will be highlighted for that month, anything you think is a chapter that would be helpful for you to have in addition to what we're releasing to the full membership, let us know, and that's something that we can work on to get you as an added resource. Again, that document I kind of went through very quickly will list out different opportunities you could take advantage of. But we're certainly happy to help produce other items or resources that you might need.
There's a question in the chat box about cost of CEUs. Diane or Becky, could you address that? Oh.
There's only a cost for non-members. Members receive that service for free.
And DM, would that hold true, like if they're doing the lunch and learn for the members library, when they submit that, would there then be a payment due for the non-members?
Correct, yes.
Is the third Thursday government affairs thing, is that going to be tailored toward those monthly spotlight issues?
It's going to be a combination. So Andrea Eels and Ann Jackson will be looking at those each month to see if there's something specific around that technical area that needs to be presented, but also just if there's some hot topic that is coming up, then it may have a broader scope for that month. So each month they'll present kind of a description of what they'll be talking about. So it'll really just depend on what's going on in the world and what might be a hot topic they want to make sure it gets out to our members that month.
Fair enough. Would you be willing to pop up that screen again of the outline?
Absolutely.
Just so we kind of look at that again, please.
Did you want to see, Sean, just the months, how they're broke out, or the actual like chapter edition where we were getting suggestions?
I was just going for the monthly topic things. Just
okay. Yep. Right there.
Yep, that one. Thank you.
Absolutely. And again, these do align with our reporter issue. So again, that's why we're January. You'll see we will be highlighting both engineering, technology, and asset management, as those are both covered in our January reporter issue.
Okay.
This is the time for you guys to talk to each other. So please feel free to share what you're thinking for your own chapter or what questions you may have from other chapters. You've got some great resources here online.
So when this it's Martha with Kentucky. So when this opens up, Becky, you have some great ideas listed previously. Are those also going to be released to chapter leaders so that we can refer back to that and share maybe with those that are not on the call today?
Absolutely. That was kind of our attempt to pull together a draft, but we really wanted to hear from you today, other like resources you may need. So after this call today, we'll finalize that and then make sure that is sent out to all the chapters and chapter leaders through Tammy and Ashley.
Okay, so the live events that you've got planned, there's the 3 live events. Those are about an hour apiece, correct?
Correct. So the Spotlight On series is 3.5 hours. The Spotlight On series will actually cover 3 different sessions that would have been typically scheduled for PWX. In between each, we'll actually have, if anybody attended our Winter Operations Summit, it's going to be very similar to that. It'll be a live event where we have an MC. We'll have 3 sessions. We'll have breaks with interviews in between. Lots of engagement between audience members. So it's a great opportunity to really celebrate that technical area and engage and discuss with each other. So again, that might be a good area for your chapter if you really did want to get your chapter together. Maybe you schedule a happy hour or you schedule a discussion time after that series. ends for the day that you want to get, or for the following week, where you want to get your chapter members together to talk about maybe what they learned, or other perspectives from your own region or local area. So that one is 3.5 hours. The other, the SCRC perspective on, and the third Thursday advocacy jam are both 1 hour in length.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Becky, you may have said this. Are these live or are these recorded?
So those 3 are live and will reoccur every month. There'll be a new one. And then the third, the spotlight on will be presentations like you would expect at PWX. But the third Thursday advocacy jam and SERC perspective will be much more interactive. It'll be like today on Ring Central. So hopefully everybody's sharing information and ideals amongst each other. Other live events throughout the year that may occur. So for example, in September is our Fleet Month. So we will actually have a live online workshop for our new public fleet certificate program. And that'll be ran over a 2-week period, 2 days for 2 days a week for 2 weeks. And that'll be live interaction with an instructor where they're being presented the information, can ask questions. If anybody's familiar with our current construction inspection live online workshop, it'll run exactly the way that has been ran. That has been very popular. We released it last month and it was sold out in less than a week. So we could take 100 attendees. We are now doing our second one because we had a waiting list of another 100 people that were interested. So very popular. So that would be live as well. And you'll see that throughout the year. So for example, for February, we're Water Month. We typically have a Stormwater Summit at PWX. We will do actually a pre-recorded Stormwater Summit and make that available to everybody. So that'll be part of a pre-recorded session. So again, it's going to be a combination of live events and pre-recorded events that individuals can purchase, watch together as a group. You can watch it with your chapter, your agency, or at your own personal convenience, when 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, when it's best for you to watch that.
Questions, comments, thoughts, fun ideas about what you may do in your chapter or what you might like to try?
Tammy, Keithview Region 3. You'd also talked about at one point how we may be able to set these things up and do them regionally as well. What do you think might be involved in setting up some sort of regional conference?
Do you mean the educational conferencing or?
Well, you talked about, I think this was specifically on the advocacy part. Any areas that might pertain to a specific region, or just wanting to gather the region together to have some of these educational opportunities as well.
So I think right now, Keith, so Andrea and her team are already working with some, I'm not sure if it's regions or chapters or perhaps both, where they're doing, I think, a series of 4 briefings where they give an overall briefing just of advocacy, how to get members involved, excited about learning about it. And then the other 3 focus specifically on APWA's priorities and a briefing on each of those priorities. So that's something that Andrea already has available as an option for your chapter or region, that I'm sure she'd be happy to work with you on as an option.
This is Scott. I'd add as well that that's right. And the reason it would work well, to have a regional one is that she's largely speaking about, and our other staff is largely speaking about federal legislation that we're working on. But then what they speak about as far as grassroots effort and training, that's applicable anywhere in the United States. So the regional model, we believe, will work well. Obviously, if chapters within a region or a chapter within a state want to focus on their own state legislation, then we can help with that as well. But that might not be regional in every case.
I know Andrea has done a series of meetings with the Mid-Atlantic chapter, and Scott Smith's on the line, but he has no microphone. So any comments he makes will be available in the chat box about how that has been going or how successful that's been. What else from you guys? Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up for the day?
I just want to do a quick shout out. Good job, Region 5. Paul, Kyle, Angela, Marty, and Mike. Thank you all. You guys do great.
I never thought about creating this as a competition, Sean. Nice.
Well, if you know me, it's all about competition. So.
Okay. Who knew?
Without sports, you guys.
Was there a discussion?
Sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, was there any kind of discussion or thought on what time these were going to be hosted? Because if it's a 3-hour block, it's going to be another midday type thing,
Right.
like
so
11 to 2 or whatever.
The Spotlight On series is 1 to 4:30 Central Time is what we currently have that scheduled for. And then I believe the SCRC Perspective On is noon to 1 Central Time. And then the third Thursday Advocacy, I think I want to say 2:30 to 3:30 Central Time each month. And those will be on the website. We're adding those right now, those times, and they'll stay the same every month. That way you can schedule it for the entire year and be able to plan ahead on those. The other thing I would mention too for chapters, I know a lot of chapters have other organizations or partners that they work with sometimes on their conferences or education. That's a great opportunity also to get them involved. So with the PWX at Home, we'll be reaching out to other organizations we work with. So Martha, I've already thought about for the O&M month in November, reaching out to Vista to see if we could partner or highlight some of their offerings. For UPRO, we work with CGA. They're going to actually be presenting one of our sessions. So it's a great way to also utilize those partners that you might utilize within your live conferences to do something virtual or to highlight them as well.
Would you guys be interested, like, let's just say we have a chapter like Indiana that doesn't have lots of people active. So I'm not going to host a meeting with just myself to discuss the topic. Would you guys be interested in hosting like an after a spotlight on, from 5:30 to 6:30, little breakout session rooms to discuss maybe some of the topics?
Yeah, I think that's something we could definitely investigate. Deanne and I will look into that and having that as an option. We had kind of toyed around that and discussed it a little bit with also giving like some of the vendors or exhibitors chances to hold either happy hour or jam sessions afterwards. So those are certainly items that we could look at a little bit further as well.
That might also be a great regional opportunity, is if you do have some smaller chapters in your region or some chapters with who may not come together like that and have a good group joining with another chapter or your region to host something like that might also be a great opportunity. But absolutely, as Becky said, we'll also see how we might be able to work that into our national programming as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think as long as we get, you have the outline kind of there and we know what topics are going to be discussed, I think that gives us time to coordinate with our chapter to determine if we want to have a breakout session or anything afterward to discuss it. I think I think it's great that you have it kind of formatted the way you do.
It's pretty exciting to have such a variety of education so accessible to all levels of public works staff that may not have been able to go to PWX prior. That's pretty exciting opportunity.
And I think that's a great point, Tammy. And that's what we tried to do with our group registration as well. So especially for like the Spotlight On series, you could purchase a group of 5 or of 10, and you will get the member rate for your entire group. So if the person who's signing up is a member, they could purchase those 5, and they can have non-members or other individuals from their agency that may not have the opportunity to actually go to PWX, actually participate either in the full year, or perhaps there's just specific areas that you want members of your staff to participate. This is a great opportunity. There's a lot of flexibility here to do that. So it really meets the needs of all of your members in your chapter or non-members in your chapter that you'd like to get involved, or your staff within your agency.
And Becky, that's part of the reason why I asked the regional question. I just wanted to get people to think a little bit differently about how they deliver services to either the members inside their chapter or to folks around them. Because, as you said, some of the smaller chapters can reach out to those around them and tag team and partner on some of these educational opportunities and share ideas. And that, again, provides that value back to our members that we may be missing right now because we're not having our face-to-face items, as Bill said. And I agree. I'm a hugger. I like reaching out and touching people, and this whole thing has just been hard for me. Magda said I look like I'm about to land an airplane. I don't know. This is just how life is right now. But think a little bit differently about how we deliver services to our members and education to our membership. If you ever want to try something new, now is a great time to do it. So if you've got educational opportunities that you can roll out, just think about different and creative ways you can do that. And don't be selfish. Don't hog it with your chapter. Share it with those folks around you, because as you can see by who's on the call right now, different countries, different time zones, the world is our oyster right now. So let's go get it.
I would echo what, no, I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, we from a staff perspective have really been extremely entrepreneurial, and this COVID-19 has been hard on everybody, but the positive aspect is we've all learned so much, and it's pushed us in a place where we really have to try new things, new ways of delivering, and we're finding a lot of great things. For instance, things that we thought we always needed, we don't need anymore. And ways of reaching out and speaking with all of you. I mean, previously, each one of us would need to hop on an airplane and stay 2 or 3 nights, and now we're able to meet with everyone all at once as often as we like. So there have been some real positives here, and we're all excited about what's yet to come in these next months, even though it's been a very difficult situation. So Keith, your advice is great.
Yes, and I would just echo what Keith said as well, is that, now that so much is happening virtually, you really don't have to think about borders and distance anymore. And so even spreading the workload amongst your region to maybe one chapter hosts an event 1 month and another one hosts an event the next month, or you share those events amongst your region to really spread the workload, as well as highlight what your chapter does the best. Could be a great opportunity to rethink how you're doing your programming, and also capitalize on their creativity and the strengths of other chapters.
Yeah, and I think this, make sure.
You're on, Bill.
Okay. Make sure that you got, this is an opportunity, and I really thank the chapters for what you're doing. We've got this chapter chatter type things going on. I participated in the Mid-Atlantic virtual changing of the guard annual meeting and other things. And you guys are really doing some very unique things. And we definitely want to highlight those because that's where we get our networking. And that's been the strength of APWA, is to tell not only other public works directors or other folks what we're doing, but now we've got the opportunity to share that with chapters. So we take those best management practices from the chapter to chapter, and we still serve our members. And, you know, I think the new normal, we're seeing the new normal. And we're going to be doing more and more of this. So we need your input in how to make this as effective as possible for you, the members. So as Keith said, we can get that value out of this. So thank you again for doing what you're doing.
You know, and also know from a staff perspective, we're here for you. So we don't want you to feel alone. You all work and have jobs outside of APWA. This is a very challenging time, as we were speaking about being entrepreneurial, creating new stuff. We're here to help you with it as well. Bill's right, though. We're hearing about a lot of great activities, even if it's online, from around North America that's happening locally. But you know, we're here to really support you. So please reach out.
In that vein, can you guys give me a little bit of feedback on the chapter idea exchanges? Is this helpful? Are there other topics you'd like? What would you like to share on that? And you feel free to share it, you know, in an email later, or in the chat, or the conversation right here. We really want to make sure that we're hitting the right note and giving you the opportunity and the connections that matter, but we don't want to waste your time. And we know that's valuable.
Tammy, I have a question that the group might help out with, and I'm just wondering if anybody has any interesting ways to handle their sponsorship in this fiscal. So we have, you know, a really good sponsorship program, but it's a lot about exposure and coming to our events, and those sponsors getting exposure at our events and bringing people out to our events because they're getting that exposure. And I'm just wondering, has anybody crafted something in this kind of virtual world that has seemed to work with sponsors? Or are you finding, like I'm sure we will, people saying, you know, I'm just going to put it on pause for a little bit?
From a national standpoint, we're hitting it hard. Whether it will work or not, we don't know. But for instance, our Winter Operations Summit was basically underwritten by sponsors who still want to be in front of everybody, even if it's online. You know, and what we're hearing is there's a mix right now of marketing budgets. Some just aren't there, and then others had money left over at the end of their fiscal year that said we're all in, and we want to constantly remain in front of everyone. From a national standpoint, our work zone or online employment site, we're not getting as much action on that, obviously, as we once were. However, we're getting a lot of ads in our magazine, and that has not fallen off. And what we're hearing is, you know, they need a way and they need means of keeping in front of everyone. Becky, are you aware much about what's been happening with respect to sponsorship for PWX at home? I know we're just kind of starting that.
I'm going to actually let Deanna talk about that because she works closely with Lisa on coming up with that.
Yeah, I think that we're offering a variety of sponsorships and a variety of levels of sponsorship, and it is about offering both the online and opportunities for engagement directly with our members and participants. And so that variety and how many times they're getting in their logo or their company is getting in front of people or being exposed, I think is a real draw. With regards to how many sponsors we're going to have, I think we've just started that process, so I think we'll see. But we did have great response to our Winter Operations Summit sponsors, and I think that there are definitely key sponsors for us that we know are going to want this opportunity and wanting to continue to have access and be in front of our members. So I think it is a mixed bag right now. And I think the more variety you can offer and the more bang for their buck you can offer at this point with so many unknowns is helpful.
And just some examples too. So like for our online programs like Spotlight On Series, a sponsor could get that their name is on the welcome screen when you sign into the program. I also mentioned earlier in our breaks, we do 3 to 5 minute interviews. So we might invite that sponsor to do a 3 to 5 minute interview live. That's another item they get for being a sponsor, or putting their logo on the email that goes out. So there's a variety of ways to actually recognize them and have them be a part of your actual live program, virtual program as well.
There's also the opportunity for them to provide educational content. It doesn't all have to be a sales focus. They've got expertise in their field, some level. Okay. Well, it looks like we're hitting the time boundary. Any final comments or thoughts? Okay, well, we will, this is being recorded. I didn't hit the button until after Bill spoke. Sorry about that. I had it on my list to remember and still forgot. But we will put the recordings out on the chapter leader resources. Again, love to get your feedback on the idea exchanges, what's helpful, what not to do. And other than that, thanks for spending an hour with us.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.